My name is Rusty Snell, and with my beautiful bride, Kim, we are so encouraged to lead the Toledo Church. So excited to be here today. So excited that we looked at houses yesterday in Toledo. We're still in Cleveland, but we are trying to make it to Toledo. Yesterday, we saw a house we loved, and we are putting an offer on it today. We have to have it in by noon. So please pray that that offer would go through. This is our third time, and we are hoping that it works this time. So we're so encouraged, but thank you for joining us today. What an exciting day. Just a great day to worship. It's drizzling here and about 50 degrees, and it sounds like it is there as well. So what else can we do right now but worship? And the last few weeks, so as you probably know, the titles of the sermons have started with re. We did resurrection, renew, remember, reconcile, remain. And today, our title is reliable. And what a perfect word. There's some other words that describe mothers on Mother's Day, but I can't think of a better word than reliable for mothers. And they are loving, they are nurturing, but they are also incredibly reliable. And so the definition, as I looked at rely, it says to depend or trust in confidently, and reliable, dependable in achievement, accuracy, and honesty. I'm like, wow, that sounds like a mother. Dependable in achievement, accuracy, and honesty. Reliable. Mothers are reliable. So I'm so excited to talk about that today. Sometimes I think we don't realize how incredibly reliable, kind of like God. I think when you're so reliable and you do it so consistently, like God making the sun come up in the morning, and making night go away, the sun comes up. He makes spring come around every year, and the seasons change. And he's so reliable that we don't even really pay attention to all the things he does, because he's so reliable that we take it for granted. And I think moms are the same way. We do the same thing. I do the same thing with my mom growing up, with my wife, who is a mother of our 4 children. They're so reliable that I take it for granted that that's just how humans are, but I'm not even that reliable. They're just so reliable. And I think today is, like Ray was saying, and I really appreciate the Flowers men, 2 handsome men doing the welcome this morning and doing a great job. But I think when Ray said, whether you have a mother right now or she's passed on, it's okay. Remember your mother today. And remember your wife. If your wife is a mother, remember your wife as a mother, and just focus on just today how reliable. We're going to look at some scriptures. I think by the end of it, you'll see that mothers and God have a lot in common. And actually, Mother's Day came about in 1907. That's a long time ago. 1907, it was Anna Jarvis, a woman who was giving a memorial service to her mother. And she was in Grafton, West Virginia, of all places. So in 1907, Grafton, West Virginia, this woman is just giving, I think it was in a church building actually, a memorial service for her mother. And it was so powerful that within 5 years, it says that every state was observing Mother's Day. That's amazing. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have all the stuff we have today, but somehow Pony Express, I don't know how they did it, smoke signals, who knows, Morse code, I don't know. But in 5 years, every state in our country was celebrating Mother's Day. That's pretty powerful. So when you think about it, mothers, whether it's humans or animals, like I love the Planet Earth shows. I love those nature shows on Netflix. I sit and watch them when Kim goes to bed. I just flip that on, and she's okay with them. I just love them. I love watching those shows, but I'm especially blown away by the mothers, whether it's a lion or a polar bear or a pelican or a turtle or a frog. It doesn't matter. Mothers are amazing. It doesn't matter the species. Humans are no different. The moms are amazing and the dads are not quite as amazing in all the species. It's kind of crazy to me. They plan, they clean the kids, they feed them, they protect them. And many times the dads are kind of the last resort. You know, the lions, if they're surrounded by 9 hyenas and the cubs are there with the mom, and the mom's like, hey, if you could wake up from your nap, we could really use your help. And he yawns, and about 10 minutes later, he comes over and chases the hyenas away. But the moms up to that point are really doing everything. It's crazy to me. And, you know, when we were raising our 4 kids and they were smaller, I was the one who usually tried to go in and interfere with if the kids were in a situation in something and they were treated unjustly. I would try to go in first and go, hey, we need to resolve this because you do not want my wife. You don't want the mother coming in to resolve this. It will not be pretty. And she's kind of known in our family. I just think she's back to the nature show. We call her the Bobcat because, you know, Bobcats are different than other wildcats because other wildcats kind of look nasty and all that. Bobcats are so cute. They're so cute. They're a little bobtail, little pointy ears, and they're a little smaller, but they're nasty. You mess with them, they are nasty. And I think Kim's kind of like, she's just so sweet and cute and quiet and pleasant, but you don't want to mess with her kids. The Bobcat comes out. And so I tell people that, like, hey, if you want to meet the Bobcat, go ahead and keep doing what you're doing, but you need to resolve this quickly because you're about to meet the Bobcat. And so one time, for example, Summer, our 4th kid, was in, I don't know, 5th grade or so. And they were at recess and she was climbing, and she's climbing with the boys. She's a tomboy. She's always been, you know, more intrigued with the athletic kind of stuff and not off doing other things with the girls, but she was doing whatever the boys were doing. She wanted to do it. So they were climbing the rock wall. So she's up there on the rock wall. It's probably 7-8 feet tall. And she fell head first down toward, I guess it was like a rubberized floor outside. This was outside at the playground. And instead of hitting her head, she landed, which was really bright. She landed on her elbow to protect her head. Good idea. But it snapped this bone in her arm between her elbow and her shoulder. Her bone snapped. The teacher happened to see it. The teacher was out there, watched the whole thing happen, came running over, and was like, Summer, are you okay? We got to take you to the nurse. And Summer, you know, gets up and she's kind of holding her arm. She's not crying or anything. She's just holding her arm. She's like, the nurse is like, are you okay? Is your arm hurt? She's like, yeah, it kind of hurts. And so they went to the nurse, and the nurse has her, because she's not crying, she's like, just move your arm. Just keep it moving. It's probably just swollen and it just needs to move. And just don't let it sit still. You just want to keep it moving. And so Summer stayed in school and she went back to class because that's what the nurse told her to do. And she came home that night and Kim noticed she wasn't acting quite right. She's on the couch or something. And I was still at work, but Kim's like, Summer, you all right? You're kind of quiet. And she's like, I hurt my arm today. And she's like, what do you mean you hurt how'd you hurt your arm? She said, well, I fell off the rock wall and I landed on my arm. And Kim was like, well, show me your arm. And the thing was like 3 sizes bigger than usual. And she's like, oh my gosh, Summer, we got to take you to the emergency room and get it checked, x-rayed. And of course they took it in. She had snapped the bone. It was broken. And so my wife was livid. She asked Summer, like, what did the nurse do? Like, how would you stay in school with a broken arm? And she's like, I don't know. She just kept telling me to move it and go back to class and just try not to think about it. And Kim came unglued. And of course she had a gentle Bobcat conversation with the nurse. And she's like, how in the world can you be that silly to have a kid move their broken arm around and just go back to class? Like, are you crazy? And she's like, we've had kids break their arms through the years. I've been here 25 years. Boys, girls, when they break a bone, they cry. Because she wasn't crying, I just assumed she bruised her arm. I've never seen a kid break their arm and not cry. And she's like, well, now you have. Like, come on. Like, you are an adult. You're supposed to be reasonable. If a kid falls off a rock wall, please send them home and have their arm checked. Anyway, I'm putting it in a mild way. Kim was absolutely unglued on that situation. So anyway, let's move on to some scripture. So I think we're good. God relies on godly mothers. So let's look at one of the mothers here in the Bible who are pretty much an important character. As we know, in Exodus 2, verse 1, it says, now a man of the tribe of Levi married a Levite woman, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with tar and pitch. And she placed the child in it and put it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. Then Pharaoh's daughter went down to the Nile to bathe, and her attendants were walking along the riverbank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her female slave to get it. She opened it and saw the baby. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him. This is one of the Hebrew babies, she said. Then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter, should I go and get one of the Hebrew women? In other words, should I go get my mom? Which was pretty smart. Should I go get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you? Yes, go, she answered. So the girl went and got the baby's mother, which was also her mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, take this baby and nurse him for me. I'll pay you. So the woman, her mom, Moses' mom, took the baby and nursed him. When the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, I drew him out of the water. So God relies on godly mothers. So as you know, perhaps the story, the Egyptians, the Pharaoh has commanded that all the boys be killed. The baby girls who are born can live. Every born boy must be killed. And I think the cool thing about this story is, and I say this all the time and I will not stop saying it, she did not know, this woman, this Hebrew woman, this mom of Moses, did not know that we would be reading her story today, thousands of years later, and she would be a main character in this story. All she knew is, I have a baby boy and I have to obey God rather than this Pharaoh. The Pharaoh commands that I kill my boy. I am not killing this boy. I'm not going to murder this baby. The baby didn't do anything wrong. And she obeyed God rather than Pharaoh. And she was amazing in just her ingenuity. And, as you know, I can't even imagine this mom, if she wouldn't have been so clever and so creative and so amazing and desperate. Moses was such an important part of the story of God. And this decision this mother made was such an important part of you and me, of the story of the Israelites, of God's story. And he's inviting us to participate and to glorify him. It might not be such an important role for you and me, but we need to participate in the story in whatever role that is. This woman made an awesome godly decision. She hid him. Can you imagine hiding a baby, an infant? These are babies that cry when they're tired. They cry when they're hungry. They cry when they're hot. They cry when they're cold. They cry all the time. Somehow she hid him, a baby boy, for 3 months. That's really hard to do. And she had such an amazing, humble start. And as a last resort, she made this basket. And I just love this story also about this Moses' sister watching at a distance. I'm guessing that the mom and the Moses' sister had conversations, and the mom was like, hey, go hang out with the Pharaoh's daughter and see if you can get somehow this woman to bring my baby back to us. And just an amazing story, amazing. And obeying God rather than Pharaoh. And for you and me, obeying God rather than other authorities in our lives, as long as they're in conflict with one another, we have to obey God. If they're not in conflict, we're okay. In this situation, total conflict with one another. So back when I was in college, I met this girl and I dated her. So I was dating her for just a few weeks, and we went into the swimming pool of college because this was in Arizona. And when it's over 100 degrees most every day, the college pool, the ones that they compete in and stuff, it's a huge swimming pool. You can get a lot of college kids in there. And it was kind of a date for this girl and I. And we were talking and kind of pulling information out of each other, still at that stage of checking each other out and seeing, where they came from and what they're into and all that stuff. And I found out that she was a swimmer, and she swam in high school, and she even won the state when she was growing up. She beat, and I'm like, okay, hang on. When you say win the state, you mean you swam faster than every other person in the state? She's like, yeah. Like, that's pretty good. Do you want to race? She's like, you want to race? You want to race swimming with me? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, are you a swimmer too? No, I'm not a swimmer, but I can swim, and I'm a guy, you're a girl. Like, I just want to show you that, like, there's a difference. I was that guy. I'm really sorry, but I was that guy. And she's like, all right, yeah, I'll race you. And so I don't know how far it is across. I don't know all the dimensions, but we were swimming the short distance. The long distance was the other way. She's like, let's just swim to that wall. I'm guessing maybe 50 meters. I don't know what the number is. I'm like, okay, cool. You say go. She said go. And I'm seriously, like, she had a propeller or something. I still think she cheated. She was so far ahead of me that she was going to touch the wall before I was even going to get there halfway. So I stopped because I was afraid people were watching and I was going to look bad. So I stopped and looked around, like, we weren't racing. She just, we're just swimming, having a little fun. And I realized that, oh my gosh, this girl is an amazing girl. She's an amazing woman. And as I've watched that same girlfriend tuck my 4 children in through the years, I've just realized what a fortunate man I was to marry first of all, a woman that would, a girl that would take a jerk. I was a jerk. Somehow she forgave me for being a jerk that day and many times over through the years. But she's an amazing wife. But the thing I am most amazed by is the way she has been a mother for my 4 children. One of the situations that stands out most to me, and I talk about Summer the most because she's still in the house. She's our 4th kid. We adopted her from China. I don't know how long she had been in our house with us. We got her when she was 10 months old, but she had this condition they call day terrors, where she would just wake up from a nap, or she would go into this spell and she would just cry and cry and try to get out of your arms. Like, she would push, and she was strong, and she would just push with her feet and her hands and just bawling. But she wouldn't just cry for minutes. She literally cried for hours every day. And I mean every day. And she did this for years. And to the point where, I would try to help Kim, like, I'll hold her for a little bit, but I can't do this, Kim. Like, I don't know. I can hold her for a few minutes, but this is crazy. Like, there's something, and Kim would read books on her and figure out what to do. And this one book was called Holding Time. And the book just said, hold her, love her, be patient with her. Don't let go. She wants to see if you're going to let go of her and stop loving her. And there's something deep inside that she is checking you out to see if you're going to nurture her and love her, or you're going to hand her off. And it was just amazing to me, for day after day, hour, I'm not even kidding, hour after hour, Kim would hold her if she was crying and trying to get out of her arms, and she would just hold her and she'd just say, I'm not letting you go. I'm not letting you go. I'm going to hold you. And she just did this for year after year. And eventually Summer stopped doing that. But it just made me remember, as I remembered that portion of her life and how hard that was for me. And I don't have that device, that godly device. That requires something different that I don't have in me. That Kim had patience. She had this loving device in her, this reliability that I don't have inside of me. And Summer somehow came out of it, and she doesn't even remember doing that, but we remember it every now and then. We talk about it. Unbelievable. So I want to play this video that really, I think, will help kind of set the tone for the rest of the sermon.
Just give me 1 second. Thank
Sure.
you. Sorry. Hey. 2 minutes. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon. Sorry about that.
Oi. Hi, nice to
Hi.
meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Have you ever done one of these interviews over the camera before?
No.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about the job to get started with. It's not just a job. It's sort of probably the most important job. The title that we have going right now is Director of Operations, but it's really kind of so much more than that. Responsibilities and requirements are really quite extensive. First category for the requirements would be mobility. This job requires that you must be able to work standing up most or really all of the time, constantly on your feet, constantly bending over, constantly exerting yourself, a high level of stamina.
Okay.
That's a lot. For how many hours?
135 hours to unlimited hours a week. It's basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I'm sure you'll have a chance from time to time to maybe just sit down here and there, yeah?
You mean like a break?
Yeah.
No, there are no breaks available.
Is that even legal?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like no lunch.
You can have
or-
lunch, but only when the associate is done eating their lunch.
I think that's a little intense.
No.
Not possible.
That's crazy.
Now, this position requires excellent negotiation and interpersonal skill. We're really looking for someone that might have a degree in medicine, in finance, and the culinary arts. You must be able to wear several hats. Associate needs constant attention. Sometimes they have to stay up with an associate throughout the night. Being able to work in a chaotic environment, if you had a life, we'd ask you to sort of give that life up. No vacations. In fact, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and holidays, the workload is going to go up, and we demand that with a happy disposition.
That's almost cruel. That's almost a very, very sick, twisted joke.
But when there's time to sleep or...
Oh, no time to sleep.
Yeah, all encompassing almost.
That's exactly right.
365 days a year?
Yes.
No, that's inhumane.
That's very insane.
The meaningful connections that you make and the feeling that you get from really helping your associate are immeasurable. Also, let's cover the salary. The position is going to pay absolutely nothing.
Excuse me?
No. Nobody's doing that for free.
Yeah,
You're
pro
crazy.
bono, completely for free.
No.
What if I told you there's someone that actually currently holds this position right now? Billions of people, actually.
Who?
Moms.
Yeah.
Yeah, moms.
That's awesome.
Oh.
And they meet every requirement, don't they?
Wow.
Oh my God. Moms are the best.
Yeah, it's no pay. They're 24 hours. They're always there.
Now I'm thinking about my mom.
Yeah, and what are you thinking about her?
I'm thinking about all those nights and everything.
Thank you so much for everything you do. I know it doesn't seem like I appreciate all of it, but I definitely do.
So, Mom, I want to say thank you for everything that you've done. I love you very much. You've been there through thick and thin. My mom is just awesome. She's awesome.
Okay, that video messes me up every single time I see it. I'm just come undone. It is powerful. Anyway, moms, mothers, it's crazy. That's all I'm going to say, and we'll move on. Luke 1. So we talked about God relies on godly mothers. Also, godly mothers rely on God. And as Ray shared about Mary, here's another main character in the Bible, a mother, and just how much she relied on God. We're going to read a little bit here and then talk. As in Mary said in Luke 1, 46 through 55, and Mary said, "My soul glorifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God, my Savior, for he has been mindful of the humble state of his servant. From now on, all generations will call me blessed, for the mighty one has done great things for me. Holy is his name. His mercy extends to those who fear him from generation to generation. He has performed mighty deeds with his arm. He has scattered those who are proud in their inmost thoughts. He has brought down rulers from their thrones and has lifted up the humble. He has filled the hungry with good things, but he has sent the rich away empty. He has helped his servant Israel, remembering to be merciful to Abraham and his descendants forever, just as he promised our ancestors." And it says it's Mary's song. I would love to hear Mary sing that. I would love to hear that sung actually by Latrice, by anybody. I don't think I've ever heard that song sung, but I love the words that she chose. It made me think about, so Mary, I don't know how God, if he interviewed women, mothers, like how do you choose who's going to be the mother of the creator of the universe in the flesh? How did that interview go? It's definitely not a conference room interview where, tell me one time when you were in a difficult situation. And I think it's more, he's watching as a working interview. I'm watching to see the mothers rely on God, these women who rely on God. Would they be good mothers? Which one is going to be the right mother to carry Jesus in their womb, to carry the Savior in their womb? No resumes, no tell me your strengths and weaknesses. God's watching. God's watching to see who relies on him. And he watched, I think, just listening to her song, the humility and the faith and the love. And he watched her reliability. She must have been an incredibly reliable, humble woman to be chosen to be the mother of Jesus. Humble, merciful, some of the terms in her song, humble and merciful. She loved mercy, reverent for God, grateful. And so God may not invite you and me to be such a main character in his story, but I think no matter what our role is in this story that's still going on, we have to have these qualities in us and accept his invitation to be in the story and have these same qualities and admire these qualities, which are godly qualities that we see in Mary. So one of the quotes that I saw as I was studying this, for this sermon, I love this quote. And it's an unknown author, but it says, "A mother understands what her child does not say. Her hug lasts long after she lets go. That reminds me of Jesus. That's why I love that quote. A mother understands what her child does not say. That's God. God understands, even when we don't say it. He knows how we feel. He knows our heart. Her hug lasts long after she lets go. And I think that reminds me of Jesus. Like I feel love long after I read the scripture. It lingers inside me, inside our spirit. So like my own mother, when I had COVID, so Kim had it, Summer had it, I had it first, and whatever. I shared the love with my family. I had it in December, and I was really blown away. One day, my mom just packed a meal in the car. She lives an hour and 45 minutes away. She drove all the way up here in the winter and came to my house and stood in our driveway. We couldn't even hug. She couldn't come in the house because of COVID. She hadn't had COVID. She still hasn't had COVID, which is awesome. We hadn't had our shots or any of that. And she stood in a drive for 5 or 10 minutes, but she just drove an hour and a half to bring me a meal and then an hour and a half back home. And I felt so loved and hugged by my mom. Even though she didn't hug me, I felt hugged, as our moms can do. That's what moms do. We feel hugged even afterward, even if we're not actually being hugged. I just want to read this card too. I don't know. She blew me away one time. It wasn't my birthday. There was no reason to send this card. She just sent this card to me, and it says on it, sometimes I can hardly believe that the man I see when I look at you used to be my little boy. Where did the time go? How did the moments turn into years that disappeared behind us at such great speed? I am in awe of the changes that have taken place in you, and sometimes it saddens me because that part of my life is over. Yet I also feel the happiness and pride in having a son who is all grown up, and nothing can dull or dampen the wonderful memories I have of you as my little boy. Even the rough times, the trying times, the overwhelming times have sweetened through the years. Memories of you still bring laughter and delight, a warmness of my heart and tears to my eyes. The pride I have in you and the love I feel for you have continued to grow, much like you have. You are even more precious to me now than you were before. If you could look inside my heart and see the love there, if you could feel its strength and depth, then you would know that you have fulfilled my life in ways no other person could. And she said, no, dear, I'm not sick or on my deathbed. I just wanted to send that. Hang on. I got to get it together. So, yeah, moms, mothers, they're crazy. So Proverbs 31. Also, this is kind of cool. Godly mothers rely on God. This is another amazing woman that I've read about. And she was not only the wife of noble character, we're going to see as we read this that she was also the mother of noble character. We'll start in verse 25, Proverbs 31, 25. It says, she is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, as he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. I don't know, that describes so many mothers that we know, and so many wives, so many women. And I think it begins with just their godliness and the way they rely on God, the strength, some of the terms they used in this scripture, strength and dignity and wisdom and faithful instruction, not idle, blessed, noble, fearing the Lord, and she has earned the reward. So as I close out today, I was just thinking about a mother's love and the reliability and just how reliable and nurturing. It's so much like God's love. A mother's smile for months and months. And as a dad, each time our 4 kids were infants, I didn't get it. Like the moms just smile at the infants as they feed them, as they change them, as they care for them, as they pour their heart into them. Day and night, they smile at their infants. And I just sit there and go, I don't know what connection you have, but I don't have that connection. Like they're just too small. They don't have any reaction. And then something beautiful happens. Her baby smiles back. And then the dads get it and they go, oh my gosh, that baby's smiling back. She smiled at the baby all those times and the baby smiled back. And we smile back. They smile back because the mom first smiled at them. And it reminds me of 1 John 4. We love because God first loved us. That's why we smile back to God, because he smiles at us first. Jesus smiled at us first. We smile back just like an infant, just like a mother. I just want to close out by saying, if your mom is still living, I encourage you to let her know how you feel about her, all she's done for you. If she's not, I want to encourage you to thank God that you did have a mother that did what she did. All those years you had with her, whatever time you had with her, praise God for mothers. Have a great day. Love you guys. And here comes my beautiful mother of my 4 children to share some announcements with you.
Hi, everyone. Wow, that was such a great message, Rusty. Thank you so much for, I don't know, just reminding all of us how amazing moms are and how amazing God is. And I don't know, I mean, I cry, gosh, this is probably like, I think every time he speaks, he makes me cry. So anyway, but now I have a few announcements to close out our service. I just, first of all, want to say happy Mother's Day to all you amazing, reliable moms. We celebrate you today. God honors your life and your trust in him as you sacrifice for your family. So I hope you just have a fabulous day today. So our first announcement, of course, is midweek. We have men's midweek coming up this Wednesday, May 12th at 7 p.m. You can see the rest of the schedule for May up there on the screen. And next, reach out cards are here, as you can see. Super big shout out to Jen for making this happen so quickly. If you are interested in getting cards, please contact Jen to make arrangements for pickup. We're excited to have this resource available to us and help as we reach out to share the gospel with our friends, neighbors, and people we just come in contact with in our daily lives. So COVID-19 still continues to impact the world. And currently there is a huge need in India. Really, really appreciate Robin just making this announcement for us on our midweek service. She did such a great job just explaining like India in general and just the need they have in their hospitals. Really, if you are able to are in a position where you can help financially, I know Hope would really appreciate any resources that we could give to them. So if you want to consider donating, you can go directly to hopeworldwide.org /COVID-19, or there's a link on our newsletter or on our website also that you can donate. And then our Hope Advisory Board sent out this strength and interest survey for everyone to fill out. Please take the time to complete it, hopefully within this next week. You can find, again, the link to the survey in this week's newsletter. It just really only takes a couple minutes to answer, and your response will just really help to determine our approach to community outreach in Toledo. And then our last announcement before we close out with the final song is again about youth camps. Rich and Amanda Bartoli, who lead the church in West Virginia, put together this really fun and informative video about the upcoming preteen and teen camp. I'm going to show it again if you didn't have a chance to see it last week. But I just want to just remind everyone like what a life-changing experience camp is for our kids. We just cannot stress enough the spiritual impact that these few days that the kids have together at camp will have on their lives and their journey as they discover God and form long-lasting relationships in the kingdom. So please just make every effort, to make this a priority as you start scheduling your kids' summer activities.